Hi guys, welcome back to Let's Play Encased. We are in the Magellan reactor area and we just restored backup power. However, powering up the emulator is still impossible. The nature of the problem suggests damaged wiring or blown fuses, and for that we need to go to the reactor ground floor. There are also a few orange wingers in this area. Doug and Link, and they ask us to check up on one of their friends who also went down to the ground floor. Not sure if that actually resulted in a official side quest. They did leave you with a alternative route to the ground floor, which will probably lead to some fighting, because they mentioned creatures. Meanwhile, we are taking radiation damage, so let's hurry up and pop a Arad. Let's just use Arad on Phantasm. And we had to bribe this guard to get access to the elevator, which doesn't even work. We need to use the emergency ladder. Now we already have been here, there was a little bit more radiation and 4 fuse boxes, and there was a orange winger standing in the corner. The switchboard is humming cozily, green indicator lights blinking. Same for this thing. Right, there are actually 3 guys here. Charlie and Justin, did he mention the name of the guy? The name of his friend? Right. 2 orange ringers, special repair queue. One of them told you his brother went missing in the tunnels around the reactor and requested your help to search for him. And they also reported something strange is happening in the reactor room and asked you to figure it out. A plump and ugly fellow with misaligned teeth and more bald spots on his head than hair calls you to take a look at his rat. The badge on his orange uniform reads Charlie Baxter.
What do you want?
Well, his actual name is Charlie Score and my rat's name is Plunger. My advice is bet on Plunger, he's a shoe-in. I almost feel bad taking these people's money. So indeed, why did you introduce yourself as Charlie Score? ask my broad about that. Well, tell me more about your rat. He gently lifts the rodent out of its makeshift enclosure. I caught Plunger in the shithouse. Took me 20 minutes to hunt him down. I just knew he was the future champion back then. Bet on my boy here and you won't regret it.
See you later.
The orange overalls reek of tobacco and gasoline. And this is Justin Bradbury. Despite the state of his apparel, Justin's eyes are shining.
Well, hello there.
He grabs you by the shoulder with a grip of that of an iron claw. I have something to tell you, so what do you want? He points at the rat running circles inside the enclosure. Bet on Rocker, he's going to win. It's a sure thing. So why is Rocker going to win? The less you know, the better you'll sleep. So you're gonna place a bet, don't miss your chance. Still clutching your shoulder, his fingers dig into you like a row of tiny awls. When he speaks, the words are disjointed, almost mechanical. Hey, you're gonna bet on Rocker, right? Are you digging this whole situation now? He's a winner. Give him your most frightening look. We're short on cash. Well, we are short on cash, but we still have 20 bonds to make the bet. Sure. Let's do it then. Make the bet on Rocker. And we get a small blue card that says Rocker. Large red and a mean red. This red is frantically running from one corner of the cage to the next, chasing clouds of sawdust and tearing at the newspaper covering the floor. Make a clinical analysis of the red. There's something very wrong with it. He just made a bet on you. This rat is on performance enhancing drugs. And this is an utterly unremarkable rat. It is large though. This is also green. Let's first check all the fuse boxes. This switchboard seems newer than the others. Looks like it was installed not that long ago. As you approach, you smell something burning. A distinct black mark is visible at the edge of the metal cover. And not a surprise, we need fuses, which of course we don't have. Let's talk to the other people here. This is a blue winger, Vito Genovese. Also has a red. And the body of the rat hangs limply in his hands, with its eyes dart fearfully in every direction. Don't touch her, Cherry spooks easily. Now she is little, but don't worry about that. Some days she goes like a bullet out of a gun.
Good luck.
This is a white winger. Lives completely out of place among this gaggle of gamblers and breeders, but still, there she is. Azalea Blanchett, entomologist. And she has a huge cockroach in a enclosure at her feet. Greet your colleague. There are only 4 specialists in entomology under the dome. I am not one of them, so we're not colleagues. So what is a scientist doing in a place like this? Conducting research, earning money, generating endorphins, as my therapist recommended. So what about the cockroach? Well, it's actually a rat, according to Azalea. In fact, George is a rat. A transgenic cockroach, of course, immune to radiation. He's also clean as a surgeon's scalpel. Performance enhancing drugs don't work on him. Anyway, I gave the committee all the necessary paperwork to prove he is genetically a rat, so here we are. Jeffrey, technician. Maybe he can help us with the fuses. He stands a bit apart from the others. Maybe he's not a gambler.
Oh, good day.
He is taking bets and making sure no one breaks the rules. Ask him how the races in the reactor section began. Anyway, an area full of radiation. What can I tell you? It began as a joke back in '73. The joke got out of hand, as you can see, and now this red rails is a real sport. We can blow the whistle on Rocker, say that he is pumped up with illegal stimulators, but let's just move away.
Chatting.
Preparations for the race are going full steam on the black and white screen. Tell the judge the rat named Rocker is obviously doped. Wait for the race to start. You squeeze through the crowd and take place in front of the screen. The spectators are noisily discussing the race and their bets. The handlers are getting their animals prepped for the start. Look at the starting line. An ordinary grey rat is in the pole position. That's Plunger. The second lane, George the rat. Third rat, quiet and small, that's Cherry and Rocker. On drugs. Fifth pen is empty. Apparently these races have even more contestants sometimes. And the track is the ventilation shaft by the looks of it. A winding tunnel illuminated by Christmas lights. Cardboard dividers separate the rats' lanes. 4 cameras are focused on the track. The last one hangs just above the finish line. So let's wait for the race to begin and watch. Preparations are coming to an end. The handlers step back. Jeffrey takes his place by a switcher with a big red button. He's poised to raise the gates. The button clicks and the rats and the cockroach run down the tunnel. And they reappear the next moment on the second camera. Cherry is in the lead. Cockroach stumbles in last. The last racer disappears from the second camera display, and the front runner comes scampering onto the third camera's display, and that red is Cherry. The tiny animal is skipping down her lane as if hurried by a powerful wind. Rocker is last, stumbling and dragging his tail. Well, that's bad news. Judging by the volume of the crowd, the race is coming to an end. And on the finish line, Plunger dashes ahead and is first to cross the finish line. Now, great. 20 combos lost. What happened to Rocker?
So where were we?
Don't take this the wrong way, there's actually a tactic. Rocker blew it so that everybody will bet on the others, and then bam, out of nowhere he wins. Of course.
Wow, look what the wind blew in.
I know Plunger would cream those other pansies. That's my champion right there. So tell me more about this red. Already knew that.
Goodbye.
Well, at least we know what is going down on the ground floor. Red races.
So, where were we?
Fastest animal won, as it should be.
Have a good one.
Oh, you again.
And Azalea is analyzing the data behind the completely illogical defeat.
Oh, you again.
Next time she'll definitely win.
See you later.
A better place. World, a better place.
And we know what we need. A fuse. Not going to find it here. Is there anything else in this area? I don't think so. Oh. Let's get back. Check on radiation status. Well, still fairly low.
Our honest work will make the world a better place. World, a better place.
Let's maybe talk to Clayton. Maybe he knows where we can find fuses.
Yes?
You may be utterly uninterested in this grey box, however the future of the emulator project depends on it, and the dump's future as well. Telling you fix the mainframe, the emulator can be re-energized now. Well, I don't think that is actually possible.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World, a better place.
Because of the blown fuse. Earth. Broken electronic device. Let's talk to Doug and Link first. They want to know what's going on the ground floor.
So, where were we?
Harold is late. I think he's replacing a fuse at the main board inside the ventilation system. But it's been way too long.
Goodbye.
Right, so we actually need to go here. This is not an alternative route. Just need to find Harold. And seems like we need to use the valve. To stop the steam. The fuse box is broken. The doors of the housing bent aside. Damaged cables within. Take a closer look at the fuse box. The casing has been damaged in a strange way, as if someone had tried to bend the doors in every direction at once. The cables have what look like bite marks on them, and the floor beneath is littered with bits of insulation and copper flakes. Fix it. Shut down the circuit breakers and properly insulate the damaged cables. Now the fuse box is functioning properly again. Of course, this repair job was outside our responsibilities, but that's no impediment for a perky go-getter like you. Alright then. Ladder to reactor corridors. Well, let's save, I guess. And let's go. Orange wing. Not a friendly. And we are looking for Harold. And this might be Harold.
In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
No fuse. But it is Harold. We found the missing person. Dead. Suspicious looking fellow. Swaying from side to side, breathing heavily. A copious amount of off-white foam is dripping from his respirator. Incredibly steadfast, incredibly resilient. Hand-to-hand combat. I guess we need to take him out.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life
Although we know what happened to Herald, so we could go back and report that. Let's start off with a tranquilizing dart. Tranquilized. Sparrow. Reload. Reduces the target's damage by 30%, but increases their evasion. Or formidable shot. Living creatures lose 2 HP in the next round. This costs only 2 AP. And reducing his damage is probably a good thing. Evasion is already pretty high. So increasing that even more is not a good thing. Let's go with formidable shot. Reduce HP, AP. Out of the firing line.
Attention, please handle this carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Someone from the outside did it. Some outsider.
Psychedelic dart. Wow, critical damage. 61 damage. That's very good.
Attention, please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
This costs 3 HP. Now the other weapon is better, but the AP cost is much higher. Target gains fatigue, and he already is gaining fatigue. Thanks to the tranquilizer dart, let's increase fatigue even more with a karate chop.
Remember, our honest work will make
There is outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around.
Psst. Wow! One shot on Sparrow. 173 of damage. That is insane. Is he dead at death's door? We do have a item for that.
Attention, please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
3 AP left. $70 damage needed. Alright, crit, very good. Wandering through the ventilation system, you came upon an aggressive maniac. He gave you no choice but to kill him. And just some drugs, magazine and beer. Just kinda hoping to find a fuse. Electrical equipment. And that is it for this area. Empty. Still registers as broken. Cannot take the fuse.
Hello again.
Harold's still missing. Who knows what's going on in there? Well, we checked it out, and unfortunately Harold is dead.
See you later.
Why are you bugging me?
Tell him about the violent madman in the ventilation system. And what about Harold? Well, we found his body. Gave us a achievement. And Link is barely able to speak. Tears fill his eyes. Meanwhile, we still don't have a fuse. Right. Read about technician workbenches. Chemistry workbenches, gunsmithing workbenches. A memo about unauthorized orange access to workbenches. Many Orange Ring employees manufacture various prohibited items which is a serious threat to collective security. Prisoners often carry lockpicks, shivs, makeshift knives, and bats with nails. Security officers and all responsible personnel are instructed to monitor the access of Orange Wing employees to materials and ammunition and prevent their unauthorized use in every possible way. And this probably just is information about the how to use the workbench. Such as the chemistry workbench allows you to produce necessary medicines on site. Can also make grenades. Can make a lot of, well, 14 shock grenades. Elevator for oranges. Could maybe try that. The elevator doors are ajar. A weak flickering light shines from inside. Main elevator control room. Nothing here. So that's kind of strange. No way to get a fuse. In this area at least. And we still, or despite that, we are able to report that the
Yes?
emulator can be re-energized.
I hope to see you again soon.
Let's actually do that before we go looking for a fuse on another floor.
Hello again.
So we fixed the mainframe, the emulator can be re-energized. Let me see. Yeah, if I got the diagnostics correct. Right, you need to visit the mechanical floor under the reactor room. Could be the wiring. But there's a 99% probability that a blown fuse is to blame. I can't go myself, I have to stay and keep an eye on the figures. I'll be grateful if you took this fuse and replaced the blown one.
See ya.
Well, that was kind of easy. In hindsight, let's go to the ground floor again. And replace the fuse. Change the fuse. Small green indicator beside the fuse comes to life immediately. A quiet hum can be heard. You replace the fuse. All that remains is to go back to the terminal and start the current with the second lever. Strange, but the blown fuse looks completely different from the new one. It looks like this fuse is designed for a much lower current. You wonder who had installed it there and why. There were quite a few events.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
You've replaced the blown fuses with working ones. Traces of sabotage were found in one of the fuse boxes. Let's talk to Montgomery about that.
Wow, look what the wind blew in.
Everything is working again. I'm so grateful. Show him the blown fuse. This is either stupidity, gross negligence or malfeasance. This is a 400 ampere fuse. No wonder it's blown. Do you work with Henrietta? We do. Then you should be the one to tell her about this find. I also strongly advise you to contact Mr. Wires, head of the Blue Wing. I rely on you entirely. So, alright, we'll talk to the head of the Blue Wing. Waste no time then.
Bye bye.
Well, first let's start the power. Pull the second switch and try to energize the emulator.
Please handle relics carefully.
It's done, the emulator is fully powered. Very good. Power to the emulator was restored. You have successfully restored the power supply to the emulator. Now you need to go to the emulator project office and make sure that the equipment receives enough power. And we need to talk to Wires. Did not lead to a separate quest. Apparently. But we need to check out the sabotage attempt first, I guess. Also, there are a lot of other floors on Magellan Station. Could also try to find Katarzyna in the lab area. But that's something for the next episode. For now, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.